this webinar on asset allocation, secret to financial plan. This is my fourth webinar in the month of April, and I hope most of you must have attended my previous three webinar. The first was on SIP, way to wealth. Second was foundation of investment, and third was on retirement planning. Today, the one topic which I want to talk about is asset allocation is the core of financial planning. And why is this so? I'll be taking you through in next half an hour or so, and followed by Q&As. As we all know, as an investor, we go through this roller coaster ride of greed and fear. Initial stage when the market looks good, we are very, very optimistic. We get excited, and as market keeps going up, there comes a time where there is a euphoria. We don't look at whether it's a good time to buy or what is supposed to be done. We go all out and invest. And it happens post investing, we see some market correction coming in. And then initially we say, okay, no, it will just come back. Let me hold on. And as we keep on holding it on, and if the market keeps on correcting, suddenly fear comes in. And then we go into different emotion. The emotion is of scaredness, emotion of despondency, depression, and we decide to come out of it. So investment which we made, say for example, in this financial calendar year, in January, okay, we touched an all-time high of 42,000, and majority of people would have invested that point of time. In a span of just 2 months, from Jan 20th till March 24th, market corrected by over 40%. And there is a possibility majority of us would have redeemed our investment, either from mutual fund or sold our stocks. And to our surprise, in a span of just another 1 month, market is already up by 30%. So from 42,000, we came down to 25,000, and from 25,000, we are currently at 32,000. The question comes up, what is happening? Why we behave the way we behave? Okay, so just look at this part of it. 1992, 1999, 2007, 2014, 2017. This was the peak year where we saw maximum inflow into mutual funds and to stock market. And the reverse of that, 93, 2000, 2008, 2011, and even in 2020, many of us would have decided not to invest the money which we already have, or we had taken the decision of coming out of our investment, only to feel bad about it because we saw market going up by 20, 30% up from the low. What leads to this volatility? Why there is the ups and downs in the market? There are many. Okay, it could be RBI government policy. It could be growth concern, like for example, for last 2 months, because of lockdown, many corporates are not working. Okay, many factories are closed. So there is a concern, okay, we may not touch a 6%, maybe a 2% or even 1%. And there are some people believe that there could be a 0% growth for this calendar year or this financial year. Then there are political events, FI flows, DIF basically domestic institutional flows, quarterly results, global macroeconomic developments. So there are lots of ifs and buts in the market. And if we start reacting to each and every news flow, the chances are that we will be playing into the market emotions. We won't be doing justification to our investment philosophy. That is investing regularly to create the wealth which we plan to have. And many of us, in spite of being an expert or an experienced person in last 10, 15 years, we see a lot of people do this, that they say, I want to invest for 5 years, I want to invest for 10 years. And when the market corrects within short period of time of 1, 2, 3 months, suddenly their strategy changes. They want to come out of it. So what we need to do, and what mistake we do by taking, first of all, before I go to that, because of this, what we do, we take, sorry, there is issue with the mouse today. So what mistake we commit while building our portfolio then? If suddenly we find the market moving the way it is moving without proper knowledge, we suddenly start thinking, okay, let me move my portfolio from equity to directly debt. I'll invest only in debt mutual fund, or I will invest only in government securities, small savings certificates, or I do over diversification. I have seen some client portfolio who has some 40 to 60 mutual fund Forget about stocks, 40 to 60 mutual funds. Why this happens? Because every time they look at value research or some portal and they see which is the number one, number two mutual fund scheme, and they keep buying based on number one, number two. If you for next 10 days try this, go to value research and see number one scheme, every day it will change. Why? Because it is based on point to point NAV, and every day NAV changes. So if I'm going to buy every day the number one, number two schemes, I may end up having 40 to 60 mutual fund scheme. If you have been part of this webinar for last 3 weeks, I have been always saying not more than 5 to 7 mutual fund scheme. Yes, 5 to 7 mutual fund scheme are sufficient to meet various short-term, medium-term, and long-term goal of yours. Then comes herd mentality. What does that mean, herd mentality? Okay, this stock is looking good. Let me go for it. Like in last 2 webinar, people were asking like, should we get into pharma? Which sector we should be getting into? As you know, this was because of COVID. Suddenly we saw a lot of pharma stock moving up. But the question is, it has already moved up. So maybe some stock has already moved up by 30, 40, 50, even 100%. Should I buy at this point of time? Maybe not, because already the growth which was expected has already been taken place. So if I'm going to buy a pharma stock, or if I'm going to into pharma in sector fund, maybe the return may not be as lucrative in the future than it should be. So don't have a herd mentality looking at the current return or the last 1 year return or 2 year return, because they have already happened. What we are here for to what I need to do next for next 5 years, next 10 years, next 15 years. And last 2 months when the market has corrected, we have few good what do you call them, financial times, who start comparing equity return with fixed income return. There are some magazines or newspaper comparing return with even bank fixed deposit or even bank saving. As we know, banks gives around 3 to 4% of fixed saving rates. When the markets are down, definitely they look far better than equity return. But are we here for a month, 1 year or 2 years? No. If you're here for 5, 10, 15 years, then look at that return vis-a-vis a saving return or some other fixed income return. So don't compare different asset class return during upside or downside. It applies to both the sector, be it in equity or be it debt. They are two different asset classes. So do not compare these two asset classes. Majority of us don't want to invest because we fear the loss. But please understand, there could be a temporary loss for a year or 2 years. But as we have seen historically in last 40 years of Sensex, okay, there have been ups and downs. It's been never a straight line. But when you look at 5, 10, 15 years downside, you see it's the upward curve. So automatically, whatever time you invested, even if you had invested at the high of 2000 or even at the high of 2008 or 2011 or 2013, still your portfolio would have made money today. The important question is, have I stayed invested? And of course, do not have unrealistic expectation. If you remember in last few webinars, I've been saying, if in equity, if I get going forward 10 to 12% return in next 5 years or 10 years, I think it's a good return. Don't look at 20, 25% return from equity going forward. That could be stock specific, or maybe one mutual fund, maybe for 1 year, 2 years, they may give you 20, 25%. But do not have that high unrealistic expectation of return. Why I'm saying so? Because our market growth is dependent on the economic growth. If Indian economy from the erstwhile 10% growth rate is going to go down to 6% or 7%, how can I expect my erstwhile return of 15, 20% return from equity market? We have to be realistic with our return expectation. If equity tend to give 10 to 12%, that's the expectation for next 5, 10 years. The fixed income may be giving around 6%, 6 to maximum 7%. That should be our expectation. If you're going to get anything higher than that, please check. You remember the SLR, which I talked about in my previous webinar? Safety, liquidity, and return. Look at what safety I have. I should not enter into a product without understanding what it is. Last week, you heard about Franklin Templeton's 6 scheme had been shut down. Why? Because they had some credit-related issues. A lot of people had invested in that scheme purely based on YTM, the yield to maturity. Oh, it looks great, 10%, 11%. But if an ultra short-term fund or low duration fund is giving you 10% or 9% YTM, there has to be some credit risk been taken by the portfolio. So please do not go basis of what last 1, 2 year return. or look at the YTM. Look at the portfolio. Yes, most of us may not be able to in a position to understand what the portfolio is all about. That's the reason I said time and again, please take advice of your advisor, relationship manager, or a partner, financial partner, to understand where I'm getting into. Do not invest into garbage. Like Jet Airways is not working for last 6 odd months or 8 months, even 1 year. Still, Jet Airways stocks are traded. There are a couple of banks which are going through a tough time, and people are still buying stocks. Don't we have good quality banks in our portfolio? Why can't we look at it? Just because it's available at 5 rupees, 10 rupees, or 15 rupees, we want to pay a penny stock investment. And what a penny stock investment gives us, it doesn't give me anything. They also lose that penny out of us. So please do not invest into penny stock just because it's available at 1, 5, 10, or 15 rupees. Look at the fundamental of the company. Is it good? Is it going to continue for next 5, 10 years? Then only invest into it. Do not ignore the fundamental. Do not take unnecessary risk. There is definitely some amount of risk in financial market. It's called credit risk, market risk, but don't take unavoidable risk. And finally, sometimes we have to cut losses. If for some reason you have taken a wrong decision, admit it and come out of it. If you have bought some stocks, okay, assuming it will go up because it has fallen down from 400 to 10 rupees or 15 rupees, please get out of it. Please invest into a mutual fund, or if you're good in quality stock picking, then of course you can continue stock picking. Else, take a portfolio approach, a mutual fund or a PMS or an AIF approach with minimum 5+ years of horizon. The reason why I'm taking maximum time on this particular slide is because this is the major mistake which all of us, including me, have been doing it in the past, have done it present, and of course we'll be doing some of this mistake in the future also. End of the day, we are human beings, we're going to make some mistake. But one thing which I'd like to tell you is, don't make the same mistake again and again, which most of us have been doing it. Getting into penny stock, buying into something which we don't know, okay, and losing our money and then saying stock market, satta market. No, stock market is not a satta market. There are a lot of people who have made good amount of wealth over the long period of time. What they have done is, they are not become a trader, they have become an investor. Look as an investor, think like an investor, and invest like an investor. We say we think like an investor, but we do action like a trader. Then your wealth is not going to happen. You have to stay invested, have patience to ensure that your investment have time to grow and sustain yourself. So then comes the portfolio puzzle. When equity are doing good, what we have to do? Everyone wants to invest now. Just like we saw, I gave example of pharma. Because pharma stock has moved up by 10, 50, 100% also. A lot of people want to get into pharma stock. Maybe instead of looking at sectoral, better to be in a diversified portfolio, which has investment into pharma, which has investment into banking, it has been investment into NBFC, investment into insurance company, FMCGs, etc. What is low and high is very, very difficult. Okay, we come to know this was the all-time low only after years down the time. For example, March 9, 2009 was the lowest level. But that I can tell you today. But did I know on March 9, 2009? Definitely no. Same way, on March 23rd, we touched our all-time low. 23rd, 24th, we touched our all-time low. Is it a low? Maybe, may not be. We don't know today. But maybe 5 years down the line, could be this was the lowest level. So don't try to time the market. Okay, I'll buy at the lowest level and I'll sell at the highest level. It's very, very difficult to time the market. So be very clear what you need to do. Okay, same goes for bond. When bond yields, if you see in the last couple of months, bond yields have started coming down. Why? Because government has taken a lot of action. Even the RBI has taken action of cutting the repo rates. So because the yields have come down, a lot of people decided, okay, particular G-Sec fund has given 10%, 15%, 20% return in just 1 year. So let me get in. The question is, already yield has come down. How much from now? Maybe another 25 basis point, another 50 basis point. Basis point is basically percentage. 50 basis point means 0.5%. So the question is, should I get in right now or should I continue with my investment which I already done? Second thing is, oh, gold is looking good. Everyone, because equity market I'm not sure about, debt market I'm not sure about. For post Franklin episode, let me get into gold. Yes, gold is an asset class which one have to be invested, but not more than 5 to 10% of your overall portfolio. So if my portfolio is 100 rupees, not more than 5 to 10 rupees of investment should be into gold. And when I say gold, I don't mean physical gold or jewelry. I mean paper gold. It could be ETF, it could be Me Gold of Motilal Oswal, or it could be sovereign gold bond. So when you invest into gold, invest into paper gold. Because what happens is when we invest into physical gold, emotional is attached to the investment. So as we know, we'll never ever sell the gold. But if it is in form of a paper, what I'm going to do is I'm not having any emotional attachment to it. If I made my return, I'll say, let me come out of my gold position because it has crossed 10-15% of my overall portfolio. Let me just come out of it. So comes to the crux of this presentation. Asset allocation is a paramount. There was some study done long time back, way back in 1992, and they have figured out that your success, your financial plan success is determined by one important factor, and that is asset allocation. It's not security selection. Security selection, if you look at this, asset allocation determines 91% of your financial position success. Security selection, whether I buy HDFC Bank or Axis Bank or ICICI Bank, it accounts for only 4%. Market timing 0.8 and others. That is something which we are not aware of. So if you look at it, if I am sure about my asset allocation, whether I buy HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank, whether I bought ICICI Blue Chip or a Mirae Blue Chip, it will not make much of a difference. You have decided, okay, this is the amount of money I need to invest into equity asset allocation, this much into debt, this much into gold, this much into liquid fund. That is the crux of your financial plan. If you have done that, your success is fixed. You have to just ensure that you play along with your financial plan of the asset allocation. And what does asset allocation means? Don't put all eggs in one basket. You come across a lot of people who say, boss, मेरे पास तो सिर्फ एक ही portfolio equity. I'm a 100% equity portfolio. It's good to say during the market boom time, but market corrects like 56%, 60% way back in 2008 or a long duration of depression between 2000 to 2003. Understand what the person would have gone through. So please have allocation to each and every asset class. Whether even if your person is retired, okay, even if the person is retired, most of the people say, please do not invest in equity. I'll say, sir, madam, please have some share in equity. Yes, there is going to be volatility in the portfolio, but invest at least 5 to 10% into equity because you need some growth coming into your financial plan. Why we are saying it? Because winners keeps rotating on regular frequency. There will be some year where equity has done well. There are some year where gold has done well. There are some year where debt fund has done well. So if I'm going to keep on moving from debt to equity, equity to gold, gold to debt, okay, a chance is that I may end up paying exit load, charges, brokerage charges, and more importantly, taxes. And when I look at all this cost and the return which I made, the possibility of cost is higher than the return you made. So don't keep on moving from year to year. I have one chart to show you in a couple of slides later. And I'll tell you why with the actual number from 2007 to 2012, 2008 to 2019. So asset class keeps on changing on every year basis. So if I keep on looking at return basis to take my care of my asset allocation, then you have going to have a tough time. So need for asset allocation. Why I need to have an asset allocation in place? First, I have diversification across my portfolios. That means I have invested into various asset class. Equity is an asset class, bond is an asset class, cash, that is a liquid fund, is an asset class, gold is an asset class, real estate is an asset class. So when we say about asset class, this means investing into various asset classes like equity, bond, cash. Why? What are the benefits of equity, debt, gold, and cash? And what are the negatives? Okay, for a short-term perspective, so purely from a short-term perspective. So why equity? Equity helps in creating long-term wealth. It has the potential to give you higher return. It is most effective instrument to hedge against inflation. But there are downside to equity also. And what are they? High risk. If I'm going to invest for a year or 1 month, 2 months, definitely I may end up making some huge losses. But if I keep my investment horizon 5, 10 plus year, even as I said, even if you invested at a high of 2000 or 2008, still you would have made money because you're given time to that portfolio. And definitely equity market compared to other asset class are highly volatile. Debt, yes, debt gives you regular income. Based on the instrument you have invested into, it will give you some regular income. Compared to equity, they're slightly lower risk. But then, of course, few episode what happened last week, sometimes they look far riskier than the equity, because in case equity at least can come out of it. In the fund which we talked about, okay, you're locked. You can't come out of the money. You don't have any option to come out of it. It has potential to preserve capital, just preserve capital, not generate higher than capital, beating inflation. This is more suitable for conservative investment. Possibility of low return compared to inflation. Gold, as we know, if you're buying a physical gold or a gold ETF, okay, there are liquidity in the market. You can come and withdraw, redeem at any point of time. Diversification gold, as we know, gold hedges inflation. So on an average, okay, inflation is about 7% in India. Gold has given in last 10 odd years, it's been upward at 10%. Otherwise, the gold return had been around 6 to 7%. So it is beating the inflation or sometimes meeting the inflation. For a short term, definitely gold is also volatile. And finally comes into cash. When I'm saying cash, it could be bank fixed deposit or it could be a liquid fund. It is highly liquid. You can withdraw at any point of time. It is safe avenue to park your extra money. It is not for generating return. Please understand, when you park money into bank fixed deposit or a saving account or a liquid fund, is not for generating return. It was preserving your capital. But when you compare with inflation, they give you poor return. If you remember my webinar past, where I said always when you invest, look at post-tax, post-inflation. If post-tax, post-inflation, your return is positive, then you have created wealth. Post-tax, post-inflation, your return is negative, you have destroyed wealth. So this is what about asset allocation. This is a chart which I was talking about. Yearly return across asset class for over 20 years. As you know, gold ETF was launched somewhere around 2007. So we don't have any returns of prior to this. So we have return post 2008. So if you look at it, we have taken average return of multi-cap for equity, gilt fund for debt, ETF, gold ETF for gold, and liquid fund for cash. So if you look at it, red are basically not necessarily negative return. It also means worst performance against this 4 asset class. Whereas a green means best performer in asset class. So if you look at it, not every year a single asset class have worked, except for this period 2003 to 2007 was a period where we saw a golden period of equity market. But post that, we have seen a reverse. So 1 year equity does good, maybe next year doesn't do good, third year does very bad. So if you look at it, had you invested only in equity fund, you say, no, I'm going to be 100% equity. This is what your volatility in the portfolio would be. You would have got one good return of 106, but at the same time, negative return of 25%, 20%, negative 54%, negative 24%. Whereas if you had invested across all these asset classes, okay, your overall portfolio return may be comparatively lower than the equity, but volatility will be low and there will be consistency in your portfolio growth. So do not be into one particular asset class. Don't say, okay, I'm a retired person or I'm a purely conservative person, so I'm going to invest only in bank fixed deposit. Please note, if you do that only in bank fixed deposit, then you're going to have tough time for your retirement, because it's not going to beat inflation and you're going to be at the mercy of inflation and the vagaries of the economy. So this is a sample asset allocation chart. This is taken from a Franklin Templeton website, because in India, we don't have such studies. So this is on the international fund. So if you look at it, this is as of December 31, 2018. So if I'm a 100% stock investor, my entire portfolio is into stocks. So my 20-year average return is around 4.81%. The best return, 1 year return was 37, but the worst year also could have been, worst 1 year could be 38%. But when I add 20% to bond and bring down my stock from 100% to 80%, look at it, my average return has improved because there is volatility has come down. So my consistency of return has improved. But look at the best 1 year return. Yes, from 37 it has come down to 30, but look at the worst 1 year return. From minus 38, it has come down to minus 29. So as I start increasing my diversification into portfolio of into bond and then into cash equivalent, if you see from this to this, from 100% to out here, 40% stock, 40% bond, and 20% cash equivalent, my 20-year return from 4.81 has come down to 4.6, that is 20 basis point lower. But look at my worst 1 year return, it's just 12%. 1/3 of what worst 1 year portfolio would have been. And that's the reason we say you need to have asset allocation perspective when you prepare your financial plan. How much? That you have to sit with your financial advisor, because each individual will have different risk profile, risk taking ability. So you need to sit down with your financial advisor and understand what should be. If you're pure aggressive, very aggressive, maybe you can have 80% into equity, 20%, maybe 10% into fixed income, 5% to gold, and 5% to cash equivalent. Where if you are a conservative person, as I said, 10 to 20% into equity and rest into bond and cash equivalent. You need to have investment across all the 4 asset classes. This is the minimum which you need to have it. Percentage, how much it should be, it has to be individual level, is not specific. Because even if there are 2% working in the same organization, earning the same salary, working in the same department, the 2% will have different risk profile. Okay, the requirement, the financial plan, their goals could be different, the years will be different. So you can't copy paste the same thing for everyone. And this is the finally I want to end up with. In last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, we have seen many ups and downs. And I always says, like I showed you the volatility, the government policies, the FII flows, DII flows, they're all noise. Okay, we need to focus on music, because we dance on music and not on noise. We enjoy music, so focus on music and not on noise. So if you look at this 40-year chart, from low of 100 way back in 1979 till the high of 42,000, which we touched in Jan 2020. Okay, is it a straight line? No, it's not been a straight line. We have seen ups and downs. There have been correction of maybe a 2 month, correction of 3 month, 3 year also. The biggest one was between 2000 to 2003. But when you look at this chart, what this chart tells you, okay, upward curve. So today we are in 2020. In 2030, what could be this chart? My personal view, let me use this is my personal view. Definitely this chart will show a similar pattern at a very higher level. Now what could be that level? 60,000, maybe, may not be. 80,000, maybe, may not be. I'm not concerned at what level it would be. My concern is whether I am participating in this journey of wealth creation. If I'm participating, automatically my wealth will be created. And that should be our core focus on. Not what is happening with COVID, what is happening with US, what is happening with Iran or China. They're all noise. They'll keep on happening. It's not that it's not happened in the past. They have. Even major issues like Gulf War, we are seeing the biggest Gulf War, 9/11, 2008. Did that stop any company from producing products? Did people stop eating the food they were doing or enjoying their lifestyle? No. People are going to enjoy their lifestyle. People are going to eat the food. People are going to travel. People are going to have entertainment. So if that's going to happen, then why should we be worried about? First and foremost, one more thing which I want to tell you is, if you want to invest in equity market, you need to have one trust, and that trust should be, do you believe India will grow? If you believe India economy will grow over the next 10, 20, 30 years, then come into equity market. Else, you have other asset class to look at. If you believe, I definitely believe in that, then please have some portion into equity market. It could be volatile for 1, 2, 3 years, or even 5 years. If you look at 5-year SIP return as of March 31st, even there are some SIP which is showing negative return. Why? Because in the span of 2 months, Jan to March, market has corrected by 40%. Index has corrected by 40%. So if you are having into multi-cap or a mid-cap or a small cap portfolio, the fall could be even higher, 50, 60%. Just to give example, Bajaj Finance from high of 4,200, 400, it was down to 2,000 level. HDFC Bank 50% down. Maruti from high level of 10,000 had come down to 4,000 level. So when a stock fall down at that level, at the correction, your NAV is determined by the stock prices. So if stock prices are coming down, your NAV is also definitely going to come down. But do we believe that this is the stock level would be for these stocks which I told you? Definitely no. If they are good quality companies, they will come back. They will come back strongly, maybe not necessarily in 1 year, but over 5, 10, 15 years. And since if my investment horizon is 5, 10, 15 plus years, why should I be worried about it? My focus should be saying, start early, keep investing regularly, have patience to create a wealth which will last my retirement. And more importantly, I have in a stage to pass on to my next generation. Finally, I always keep on saying, always stay invested as a circulation. We heard this Don dialogue, Don ko pakadna mushkil hi nahi, namumkin hai. The same way, market ke bottom ko ya top ko pakadna mushkil hi nahi, namumkin hai. So if you want to ensure that your investment return and your investor return are nearby, you have to work on your behavior. And what is that behavior? You need to be strong enough to ensure you don't look at NAV daily basis or a stock price on a daily basis. Be focused on your asset allocation, ensure you execute that plan and stay with that plan to ensure that this investor return and investment return are near. If you keep on reacting, focusing on the noise, there is always going to be this gap, and this gap is nothing but a behavior gap. Just to explain for the people who are seeing for the first time, okay, say for example, there's the portfolio which has given you 15% return, 20% return, but as an investor, you got 5, 6% return, and that is because you bought and sold at the wrong time. But had you stayed invested with that particular mutual fund for a long period of time or a PMS for a long period of time, whatever return that mutual fund or PMS has given, same return would have been your return. If you look at between this, the difference is or what you behave on. So it is up to us to decide what I want to be. So that's all from my side. Wish you all the very best on your investment journey. And I open this forum for the Q&As. So there is the first question from Mr. Manoj. How to decide on asset allocation plan with monthly SIP of mutual fund, gold and fixed income? Do we have any tool for DIY investor to decide on ratio? Mr. Manoj, I will tell you, just because I'm not because I'm working with Motilal, I'm as a distributor. Okay, can we all be a doctor by watching Google? There are a lot of information available on Google. So can we become a doctor for ourselves? No. The same way for investment. Okay, please, investment is not that easy as it looks like. So please take help of your advisor. Okay, please take our advisor, because most of the customer who want to go by DIY, basically for people who don't know what is DIY, do it yourself. A lot of people have burned their finger by doing it yourself. Why? Because when the market corrects, most of the people who are invested into direct mutual fund or into other products, they're lost heavily. Why? Because they don't have anyone to support, handhold, to tell them, sir, no, this is the right time to continue with the investment. Sir, this is not a product to get in. This is what value addition of advisor will do too. So please sit down with your advisor and be open up with what your goals are, how important that goals are, when you want this goal to be achieved, and what plan of action you can do. Yes, if you once a goal asset allocation has been decided, you can accordingly decide. Say, for example, your asset allocation, say 40% into equity, 25% into debt, 25 or 10% into gold. You can start your SIP in the same fashion, and maybe on the yearly basis, review whether your asset allocation remain the same percentage. Okay, if you have equity which is supposed to be 40% or 50%, it has moved to 60%, then there are two things which you can do. Either you redeem some part from equity and put that money into debt or gold, or you do some lump sum investment into debt fund or gold fund. So automatically your portfolio will start matching. It will be never be perfect. Okay, life is never imperfect, and you can't keep on changing your ability based on daily NAV or daily prices. You have to review on a yearly basis and start tinkering with your asset allocation to bring it to the level which you want to. A 5% variation should not make you any worry. I'm sorry to say that many advisors are not good and advice is given for their personal gain. You need to filter those and train them before going them on board. Sir, yes, always a learning process for everyone, but please understand, learning process has to be equally for both of us. If you remember in my previous webinar, if you are a part of it, I said end of the day, it is your money. Okay, if you lose money, both of us will feel pain, but pain of mine will be definitely lower than yours, because it's your money, you will get more pain. So when anyone is giving you advice, please ask questions. Don't invest unless you get the confidence, yes, this is what I want to get into. Take advice, but take a call also. It's your money, you need to ensure, don't buy it, because most of the time the client says, okay, मुझे ये बोला गया था, ये portfolio ले लो. But sir, why did you go? Because you went on the basis of return. This particular portfolio has given you 15%, 25% return. Everyone wants to go for it. I'll just give an example. In my previous organization where I was working, if you remember, there was something called DSP microcap. Now it has been changed to small cap. The DSP microcap in year 2016 or 17, the 3-year return was around 40-50%. And client wanted to invest into that fund. Why? It has given 40-50% return in 3 years. That means your portfolio has doubled in just 18 months. I asked the customer, so do you know why I want to invest? First is the best fund I want to invest. What is my best fund? It was nothing but purely return. You know what happened? If the customer had invested, we stopped the customer from investing. If the customer had invested, his next 3-year return is now negative. So don't go on the basis of past return or just because you like the portfolio. Figure out whether that portfolio fits into your risk profile, fits into your goal, fits your time frame. A lot of people have come in to invest into PMS saying, yes, I want to look at 3 year, 5 year down the line. And within 6 months, when they see a negative return, they want to exit. That's not your financial plan execution is all about. If you are sure you want to get into PMS or into AIF or in mutual fund, come here for minimum 5 years. Don't look at portfolio or don't try to be a fund manager yourself. We are investor. We have to behave like an investor. Let fund manager behave like a fund manager. There is a question from Mr. M. Kumar. Is overnight debt fund, mutual fund are also risky like short duration fund or corporate bond fund? Excellent question, Mr. M. Kumar. Post last week episode, Franklin Templeton episode. Okay, someone asked me on the very same day on a one-on-one basis, Santosh, I don't want to take any credit risk. What should I do? Where should I invest into debt mutual fund? So I said then only 2 options are available. If you don't want to take any credit risk, one is overnight fund. With overnight fund, okay, the maturity period is just 1 day. They invest into repo or the overnight fund. So there is no way of default happening. So you'll get your money. Yes, the return will be very low, 2.5%, 3.5%, 4.5%, whatever the return is at the point of time. And second fund will be gilt fund. The gilt fund, they invest only into government securities. It will be very volatile. Market risk is there, but there is no credit risk. That's why I said, when some episode or event happens, suddenly everyone wants to move out of it. Just because one particular scheme or one particular AMC has taken a call does not mean that all funds managed by other fund houses are also bad. No, not necessary. Each fund house has their own strategy of investment. Okay, this particular fund house, I have a high regard for them. Okay, they have been having this strategy for last 10, 15 plus years. Is only 2 things happen. One was basically the COVID issue. So suddenly there is lockdown and there are payment issue. Second thing, which I personally, this is my personal view, is the fund house happened over aggressive, overboard of taking the security across all the fund type. Like for example, I personally believe they should not be taking exposure into a liquid fund or ultra short term fund or low duration. This particular security should have been ideal for a credit risk fund or maybe a corporate bond fund, but definitely not for a low duration fund. So that's the reason I said, if you are a DIY customer, you would have gone and invested into the scheme purely based on YTM or the return it has generated for last 1-2 years. So for Mr. M. Kumar, overnight fund and the guild fund from a credit risk, I'm just saying credit risk, not by market. There will be market risk will always be there when you invest into any product in debt market or equity market, but they are better than other liquid fund if you look at from a credit risk perspective. Before invest, there is a question from Mr. Isaac. Before investing in mutual fund, do we need to look at market P for entry strategy? Sir, I think you must have asked question at the beginning. Yes, you asked at the beginning at 10 on 10:14. As I said, don't look at all these parameters. Okay, if I'm going to invest into 10 years or 15-year horizon, I should not be getting into this PE levels because there's no right time to entry or exit. Okay, I don't know what the low, what the high. Just give you an example, Asian Paints. Okay, I'm giving stock specific right now. Asian Paint has been a high P stock for last 10 odd years. It was above 40, 50. Now it is around 60, 70. So if you look at from a ideal P perspective, no one should be ideally investing into Asian Paint. But people have been investing and be making money for a long period of time. Whether it continue to do in the future, I don't know. But looking at the company, it is a 30, 40-year-old company consistently generating return, constantly innovating in its product baskets. So if a mutual fund or a PMS has invested in that stock, I can be slightly confident and say, okay, my portfolio will tend to do good. I need to stay invested. So don't look at market P or the stuff because there are a lot of P. There are two Ps. One is called trailing P and a forward P. So, and they keep changing on a daily basis. So don't look at investing from that perspective. Look at your investment horizon and your risk profile, whether that particular product suits or not. There is a question from Mr. Rajendra. Being an active investor, if we invest more than 10 years, please explain when to switch from existing fund against certain criteria. 2, 3. One is basically if suppose you have been investing into a particular mutual fund or a PMS and a particular fund manager has been investing for a long period of time. He has been the fund manager for the last 10, 15 years and he moves out from that particular scheme. Chances that, okay, the fund may undergo change because the new fund manager either may continue with the strategy or may not continue the strategy. So that is one time when you need to revisit. Okay. Second thing is the fund which you have invested over the period of time, you see it is underperforming the index. It is also underperforming its peers. I'm saying is other peers. For example purpose, ICICI Blue Chip, which is large cap. You check the performance ICICI Blue Chip vis-a-vis other blue chip in the large cap. If you see it consistently underperforming, then you have to take a call. Should I continue or not? As if it's doing performing well on a consistent basis, not necessarily number one. Don't invest into number one, number two because it keeps on changing on a daily basis. If it is in the top quartile, okay, it's in top level, then continue investing. Third could be when you should exit is when you need money. If you know you need money for next month or next year, then that's the time to exit. There is some anonymous. The darling of today may not be the best post-COVID. How to save now, select MF and share at this point of time. Past downturn is not a best example. Again, I told you the same thing, sir. Is getting into fund or into stock which is top performing today based on last 6 month return or a 1 year return, okay, may not be the appropriate fund. Look at fund which have been doing consistently over last 5 years or 6 years. If you've been doing consistently, we can expect, okay, assuming that no other changes, the fund will continue to do the same way. Can you suggest ideal asset allocation? Sir, I can't suggest ideal asset allocation because as there is a word ideal, there's nothing called ideal per se, okay? Because your age profile will be different, your liability position will be different, your asset position will be different, your goal will be different from mine. Okay, so that's why I give the example of if you're very aggressive, so you can go up to 80% equity. If you're conservative, you can go upward up to 80% into debt. And if you are moderate, so somewhere around 40-40 into equity and debt, and 20% rest could be the ideal one. Okay, there is a question from Mr. Rupesh. How to construct mutual fund portfolio, large cap, mid cap, multi cap portion? Again, I'll give example. I said earlier, not more than 5 to 7 mutual fund scheme that they are sufficient. So if you're a moderate person, okay, then you can look at large cap, multi cap, and a arbitrage fund, a hybrid fund. Okay, so 1 or 2 schemes. If you are very aggressive, you can add mid cap and small cap to your portfolio with multi cap. If you're a conservative person, okay, they invest into large cap and hybrid fund. So this should be your asset allocation, not more than 1 to 2 scheme within that asset classes and within that classification. There is a question from Mr. Bharat. Can we add real estate property also in our portfolio? So when I say if you have to add real estate, that real estate has to be paper real estate and not a physical real estate. Because the house which I'm staying in, okay, they are not liquid and I'm not using that to sell it. So when we're looking at a financial plan, you have to take a financial plan excluding the house which you're staying in. Okay, that's not something which you're going to buy or sell. As I said, sometimes you have to take a call of exiting. Are you going to exit from your house you're staying in? Yes, if you're invested into a paper real estate. When I say paper real estate, it could be real estate fund or it could be REITs. Okay, in the stock market right now, I think there is one REIT been listed right now. So that is something which you can look at. A physical real estate, as you know, today, especially because I stay in Mumbai. So if in Mumbai, even if I want to buy 1 BHK, it costs around 1 crore rupees. It's a huge upward cost, front end cost. You have that money into. And secondly, please understand, when you buy real estate, it is also an expensive asset also. It can become a white elephant if we can't pay our EMI. There is a maintenance charges which I should pay. There is repair and repairs which I need to do every 5 or 10 years. So real estate as an investment, okay, has to be purely in a form of paper, real estate paper, not as a physical real estate. There's a question from Manish Kumar. How many companies should we have in a portfolio focus on equity? Based on my reading of a lot of books and magazines and stuff like that, what I come across is not more than 15 to 20 stocks. 15 to 20 stocks are sufficient enough, simply because post that we won't remember which stock we have. As I said, there are some people who have 40, 50 mutual fund schemes. So if you're going to invest 40, 50 mutual fund scheme and each mutual fund scheme has around 40 stocks, so multiply by that, you get an X for that. So around 15 to 20 stocks are sufficient enough. There is a question from Mr. Raj. As a strategy, if we make a return of say 30 to 30% on a position, do we take profit and stay in cash and wait for another correction to re-enter? Or do we keep holding the security if it is fundamentally good company and return is generated due to good entry point? So that's what I said. When you invest, okay, think you are investing at a what position? As an investor or as a trader? Okay, I gave example of HDFC Bank or Asian Paint. If someone had invested in HDFC Bank way back in 90s when the stocks got listed, okay, it has multiplied more than 25 times or 30 times or 40 times. So how many times would I have entered HDFC Bank and come out of the HDFC Bank? And when I added all the plus position and the negative position, I may not have made money from HDFC Bank compared to a person who had holding on to HDFC Bank for last 20 odd years. So take that position and accordingly take your call. Another 10-15 minutes. Good question from Mr. Abhay Sehgal. How does one establish the credibility of an advisor? I have had a bad experience when the advisor was pushing for a particular product because they were getting a better commission. Sir, it's a part and parcel of the market. Yes, you will find some such advisor, but also we can't brush the same paint with everyone the same way. So what you need to do is understand from the advisor his experience. How does he go about sharing his knowledge to customer? What is this base of suggesting a particular product? On what basis does he saying, okay, this is suitable for you or not suitable for you? Then what is the investment horizon is he talking to invest into? Say someone is coming and pitching your PMS and say, sir, last 1 year it has given 20% or 25%. Invest in this PMS, for, you'll get 25% in this 1 year return in next coming 1 year. Then you are rest assured that he's not a right advisor to be invested into. But if there's a guy who's going to sit with you for and explain to you what this product is all about, what investment horizon should be holding on, what expectation he gives you, okay, on the return part of it. If he's going to give you something, say, guaranteed return of 15-20%, then don't invest through him. Because as I say, we are investing into market. In market, there is no guarantee. Okay, even as a regulator SEBI has made it categorically clear, no one can give assured return to anyone. So I'm an advisor. Okay, when a fund manager who's managing the fund, he doesn't give me guaranteed, okay, you'll get 10%, 15%, 20% return from this portfolio. How can I, as an advisor, give that? So, as I said, it's your money. You have to ensure to ask multiple questions to customers, to the advisor, and then figure it out what he come across, he or she come across. And if you find that this person is reliable, he's looking from your interest also, then you continue with that advisor. There is a question from Mr. Sandeep. Sorry. Investor knows that market is volatile and returns are not same month on month. Still, they ask for some returns and try to compare with FD in case of negative return from equity. What should we can say such clients? I think, as I said, the same thing is, it's not only advisor who pushes product. Sometimes even there are a lot of clients that I have also come across who say, मुझे ये product लेना है, मुझे ये product चाहिए, मुझे 15-20% वाला return वाला product चाहिए. Why? Because his friend has made 15-20% return. But then again, I say this is market oriented return. When it can't be guaranteed, how can you get into that product? Why a lot of people are suffering today? Because they invested most of the time looking at the past return. If the past this particular product has given you 15-20% return or 30% return, they want to get it. I gave an example of DSP microcap. The customer want to invest only based on past return without understanding that microcap is the highest volatile and most riskiest product to invest into. Okay, it is only suitable for most aggressive client, but we go purely by return. So use always SLR, S safety. What does safety means? Return of principal. We always look at return on principal. You should look at return of principal. If I'm investing 100 rupees, okay, we are concerned about getting 10 rupees on that 100 rupees. We also need to consider whether I'm going to get back my 100 rupees or not. So look at whether that product is suitable to give me that money back after 5 years, 10 years down the line. Second is liquidity. Can I come out of it as and when I want to get into? I may have come with a 3-year horizon or 5-year horizon, but there could be some urgency coming in, emergency coming in, just like this COVID period. I suddenly need some money for my business. Can I liquidate it? If I can't, then that was not a product I get into. With a lot of people I invest into closing date fund, they can't do anything about it. And then finally comes return. Don't make return as your priority. First look at safety, look at liquidity, then check on the return, what return this fund has given in the past. Okay, yes, because we need to see how the fund has performed and how consistent. Rather than looking at 1 year return, 2 year return, how consistent this return has been there over the years. Then we can have some fair judgment. Okay, if this has been doing for last 5+ years, maybe if this environment continue, okay, I can expect such. But please understand, the returns are not guaranteed. You have to stay invested to get a return which the market is going to give. There is a question from Kishore Agarwal. After Franklin issue in liquid, whether other liquid funds are safe? Yes, sir. Please do not get worried. As I said, do not paint the same brush with everyone. Franklin is just one episode. As I said, this fund house has been there internationally for hundreds of years and in India for more than 25 years. They are the excellent fund houses. It's just that call has gone wrong. Okay, they may bounce back maybe after a couple of months or quarter, but don't generalize it. There are liquid funds saved. However, check what portfolio they are investing. A liquid fund should have two important parameters. One, the average maturity should be around 91 days. Second, they should invest predominantly. Okay, if I have to say something like that, 90+% has to be in triple A only, triple A product only, or CPs or CDs. CPs are commercial paper issued by corporate, CDs issued by financial institution or by banks. If it has CPs and CDs of good banks and invested into AAA companies, that liquid funds are good enough to invest into. There is a question from Rupesha. Good financial magazines or newspaper that we can prefer. Okay, I'll talk about this in my personal. So take with pinch of salt. Okay, I read Mint newspaper. I find it's one of the excellent newspaper to read into. Mint is good. Business Standard is good. Okay, these are two newspaper which I do see that they do proper analysis and good pictures and charts and stuff like that. It helps me in better reading. So that's a newspaper which I read personally. And magazines, definitely there are a lot of magazines, Outlook Money, then there are The Last Street and stuff like that. We need to keep on reading it. And of course, read some good financial books also. There's a question, Biradar Parmeshwaram, SIP is better than lump sum? Yes, SIP will be better than lump sum over a period of time, simply because, say, suppose I want to invest 1 crore. Do I have 1 crore today to invest in lump sum? Definitely no. But over the next 10 years or 15 years, I can invest 1 crore? Yes. So if I keep on investing on a monthly basis, what happens is, irrespective of tomorrow market corrects by another 10%, 20%, I get the benefit. If market has moved up, okay, I have already invested in the low level, I get the benefit. But if I invest in lump sum, okay, there have been some couple of studies which show that lump sum makes better return than SIPs, but then that is purely market timing. So I'll prefer to invest in a staggered manner in SIP or in STP than lump sum, because one never know how the market will behave. Like personally, if you ask me, the way market has behaved in last 2 months, okay, during this COVID period, up by around 25% or 26% this month, okay, fundamentals are not that great. Okay, most of the companies are still shut down. There are no sales happening. There will be impact on jobs. There will be impact on salaries. So the thing is, it's all about emotions. So investing in lump sum may be not appropriate. So I'll prefer to say SIP is a better way than to investing lump sum. There is a lady called Sangeeta Shah who would like to start SIP of 25,000 to 50,000 per month for a minimum 5 years to 8 years. Good, ma'am. Good initiative. I hope this presentation would have helped you in taking the right appropriate decision. I'll advise you or suggest you to connect with your advisor, and minimum, since you're going to invest around 25,000 to 50,000 rupees, my request would be to spread this across 5 to 7 schemes. Okay, not more than that. Okay, you can add even international fund. Recently, Motilal Oswal had launched Motilal Oswal S&P 500, which invests into US S&P. So you get an opportunity to invest into top quality, top 500 brand companies abroad. So you are, by investing in SIP mode into S&P 500, you get an opportunity to invest into Apple, Microsoft, Intel, Cisco. So have one international fund depending on your risk profile. But again, minimum 5+ years, which you have. So good. Welcome to Journey on Wealth Creation, ma'am. There's a good question from Mr. Kishore Agarwal. At the time of exit, like retirement time, shall we exit completely, or 1 year before in parts we should exit? Sir, based on last few months, and because I've been in the market for last 20 odd years or 25 years. Okay, earlier I would have said, okay, you come out of it 1 year before the retirement. Now I'll say at least start 2 years. So 2 years before your retirement age, don't exit completely. Start doing STP. move from equity fund to debt fund. So over the period of time, every month, you start moving from your equity to debt. So when you move into retirement age, your portfolio, say for example, your portfolio right now is 60% equity, 30% debt, and 10% gold. So you start reducing it. So when you are at the age of retirement, you have minimum 10 to 20 or 30, depending on your risk profile. Okay, you can have around 20-30% into equity and rest moving into debt fund. What should be, there's a question from Mr. Joshi, what should be the portfolio mix for a retiree looking to a regular income and wealth creation to his 60 years of age? Sir, a couple of things. The school of thought a long time back, there is a rule of thumb people say is 100 minus your age should be exposure to equity. Then some people say it should not be 100, it should be 80 minus your age. But please understand, each person will have different profile. What if when I'm retiring, okay, I have created such a wealth that my income stream, I'm not worried about my income stream. Or if I'm a government employee, I'm getting a good pension, okay, and I have good, have no liabilities per se. I may continue having 70%, 80% into equity because I'm not investing for my purpose. I'm investing for my, handing it over to my child or to my grandchild. And my grandchild is young right now. So by the time that he or she becomes 20 years, could be 20 years down the line. So I may continue to stay invested in equity. So I will not change just because I'm going to be retired. What I'm going to do is what my requirements at the age of 60 is. If I have sufficient fund in place, then I do this. As per this question from Mr. Joshi, sir, what can you do is basically you can continue to hold into equity. As I said, the previous example, you start diversifying into debt fund, and also you can do something called SWP, systematic withdrawal plan. So by systematic withdrawal plan, you start withdrawing money from equity fund. So you fix, say, so for example, your corpus is of 1 crore, 2 crore, and you say, okay, 4 to 5%, 5% annually. So 5% of my 1 crore, that is 5 lakh rupees, I want to withdraw every year. So 5% divided by 12, make that amount as a withdrawal amount under SWP. So every month from your fund, you will get that money. So it will act like a pension fund for you. You will be getting your pension regularly fixed for you. So you can look at SWP and also looking STP to transfer some fund into debt fund. There is a question on anonymous attendee. I think this person has been there all my 4 webinar and asking a good amount of question. What is your view on index fund for long term? I just give example of S&P 500, which is a US based index fund. Internationally, it has been found that index fund, people have started moving fund from active to index fund, which is called basically passive fund. And why is this so? Because in last 20 odd years, most of the active fund are unable to beat the index fund over the period of time. Maybe 1 year, 2 years, they could have beaten an index, but not necessarily over the period of last 20 years or 10 years. In India, still long way to go, maybe another 5 years or 10 years, but definitely maybe after 5 or 10 years, we'll see most of our active fund. This is already happening in case of large cap. Most of the active fund are unable to beat index. So we'll see index fund become very popular. And that's an example. Motilal also had invested, has launched a couple of index fund in last 6 odd months. We launched Nifty fund. We've launched next Nifty fund. We also launched mid cap fund, small cap fund. So all index, because we believe over a period of time, there will be some savvy customer will be preferring to go for index fund, and so we have such index fund into market. And also there are a lot of index fund into market. So what the index fund does is, say for example, there's a Sensex index or a Nifty index fund. They will invest, the fund manager will invest with exact 50 stocks, the same percentage. Okay, it's a replica of index. So as a result of that, if index is given 10% return, your index fund also will give around 10% return. Why I'm saying using word around and not exact 10%? Because there will be some expenses, okay, and that will be also what do you call them, execution cost involved. Because if I want to buy 100% of that percentage of the HDFC Bank, I may not be able to buy on a daily basis. So there could be some execution cost. So that's the reason I said it will be near to index. So yes, over the long period of time, index fund will also be a good strategy to invest into. So as of now, we can start looking at 5 to 10% into index fund. I was saying anonymous attendee again back. IndusInd Bank, I bought IPO 50 rupees, have held it for 15 plus years. So, and we all know it went to 2000 level and now at 400 rupees. So, theory of long-term investing does not add up in this particular case. Please give your view on this. Sir, I told you that you have to do yearly review. I didn't say you have to execute buy or sell, but you have to do yearly review. And this is where you have to sit down with your advisor and understand what's happening. Not all the stocks are HDFC Bank. That's why I give example. Not HDFC Bank or not all the stocks. Not all the best stocks are Maruti or not all the stocks are Asian Paints. The same way, there are some stock, okay, some frenzy stocks which looks good. Earlier you must have seen a Unitech or a DLF, okay, from a 4 rupees or 40 paise or 4 rupees, it went up to 400 rupees and then down back to 4 rupees. So you have to review. And that's why I said, I'm not comfortable stock specific because whatever said and done, because I have been as an investor, as I've been in the market for last 25 years, I have also made a lot of committed mistakes. Okay, so that's why I personally believe investing through a mutual fund or a PMS or AIF make a lot of sense because these people as a fund manager, okay, they are doing this 24/7. This is their core job, whereas it's not my core job. It's not possible for me to keep track of each and every companies. At the same time, I want to add one more point, which I've been saying in last two webinar. Please also understand when you look at portfolio managed by a fund manager, out of some 15-20 stock, there could be one or two stock where fund manager may also go wrong. Don't look at that one or two stock. Look at overall portfolio. Okay, even please fund manager also is a human being. He or she is not a god. No one is god in this market. Market is a god. So as I said, as an individual, it's very, very difficult. Okay, there are some questions prior to that. Marico or Dabur, it's very difficult. Okay, it's very difficult for me to say marriage is good or Dabur is good. Something looks good today, but can become bad. Okay, bad. For example, people were buying heavily into Bajaj Finance when at 3,000 level, 4,000 level, 4,500. Why don't you buy it at 2,000 level? Same case. The stock can look good, bad, ugly at different point of time. So if you invest in stock, keep reviewing it. Is there something going wrong with the company? Are they doing good? What is the corporate governance? Is it the corporate governance issue? Definitely, wherever you find that the corporate governance issue or where you find the management is more concerned about their own views than minority shareholder, it's time to come out of it. We are seeing a couple of market specifics, okay, with few banks happening in the past also. So wherever you see the management integrity is issue, just come out of it. Okay, that's the question. What is the A1 plus credit rating? Most of liquid fund having it. Okay, for a debenture or bond, the credit rating given is, like, for example, in CRISIL, it is like FAAA, CAAA, so AAA. Whereas a security which have less than 1 year, CPs, CDs, okay, that the rating is A1 plus. Okay, so when you find a rating of A1 plus, they are good rating. So this is my personal, again, bias. I could be a bias on this. I prefer normally with the credit rating done by CRISIL and ICRA to some extent. Okay, so that's the way I go about this. Is my personal view. Okay, not Motilal view. So let me be upfront on that. Uh, how insurance company valuation do? Okay, as you saw, see, insurance company has just listed a year or 2 year back, and we have seen in this COVID period that now suddenly we started thinking important about life. Okay, and we also understood that we need to be insured. So whether it with life insurance or a health insurance or a general insurance, okay, there is huge scope. As of today, the penetration is very, very, very low. Okay, not even more than 5% of the population has been covered under insurance. They are long-term investment proposition. So they are what do you call them? Just started the journey. So yes, they are good to invest into. However, you have to stay invested for a long period of time to see them generating good return over a period of time. Okay, there is person called Kiran Basti. I have just invested in NFO of S&P 500. When will the allocation happen? Ma'am, I think allocation has already happened yesterday. So I think from tomorrow it will be available. S&P 500 will be available for regular subscription. So you will get the information in a day or two. The allocation, maybe already the mail must have come to you from the Motilal Oswal AMC. Good, you started or your journey on the investing into. But as I just request you, please stay invested for minimum 5+ years in S&P 500. The reason being is this is a US based one. So the question is, we already seen last 10-15 days the market has moved up heavily over there. So there's a possibility we may see some correction. So don't make that correction at the point to redeem it. If you have already started journey of investing into S&P 500, it's a good start. Please stay invested. There is a question from Mr. Pankaj Javeri. Myself retire in 2026. I'm getting around 75 lakhs annuity. Where to invest? Sir, 2026, that means 6 years down the line. So this is my personal view. Okay, ideal asset allocation. You have to sit down with your advisor, because only 6 years are left. Okay, I don't want you to suffer anything just like an episode like this thing happens. So invest around 30% or 40% into equity right now in a staggered manner. Okay, when you're going to get, actually you're going to get in. Myself getting it wrong. I'm not getting this question. We are already okay. So you'll be getting at the age of 2026, that is 6 years down the line. So you can start your journey on equity. Okay, right now. So you are 6 years down the line, and when you get the 75 lakh rupees, okay, because I can't crystal graze actually what 2026 will be all about. It depends on what your liability positions are, what your goals are, what your what do you call them, what your personal requirements are at that point of time. Build up asset allocation, and as I said, if you're conservative, then minimum 20% into equity. If you're aggressive, then you can have 70 to 80% into equity. If you're moderate, have around 30-40% into equity, same 30-40% into debt, and rest into gold and liquid fund. But please have 3 things in place, sir. First and foremost, if you don't have health insurance, get the health insurance for yourself and your family. That's most important. Second thing, if you don't have life insurance, at least get a life insurance for you to cover anything for next 6 years plus. Third is have a emergency fund, minimum 6 to 12 month money parked in a liquid fund or overnight fund. Okay, so that if any eventuality comes up, any emergency comes up, you and your family can manage it. Is it good time to increase allocation to mid cap in comparison to large cap? It depends what your positions are. If your investment horizon 5+ years, 10+ years, if you hear Motilal Oswal AMC CEO Ashish Somaya, he says, and he keeps on saying on a regular basis, he said, as a person, I'm biased towards mid cap and small cap. So he believes if you want to generate huge amount of wealth coming years, you need to stay invested into mid cap and small cap. So the question is, each person have their own interest and area to look at it. Okay, because he's aggressive and he personally believes that to create a big wealth compared to investing in large cap, mid cap will may I'm using the word, may generate a far higher return. But in a scenario like what we saw in last 2 months, you see mid cap has fallen, and worst, small cap has fallen even higher than mid cap. So then large cap also need to be there in the portfolio. So I'll say large, mid, and small cap. If you're aggressive, have more in mid and small. If you are moderate, have multi cap and large cap. Because when you invest into multi cap, the fund manager has already invested into large cap, mid cap, and small cap. So he's working for you on a behalf. So you need not have to have separate invest into small cap. I'll just get into chat also if there is something different. I think I have covered all the questions that was asked on this seminar. So I'd like to conclude with this two. I'll just summarize. Okay, the 4 webinars. SIP is the way to start investing. Okay, wherever you are, whatever money you have, whether you have 10,000 or 15,000 or even 5,000, start your journey on your wealth. Okay, start early. Keep investing regularly, irrespective of what happens in the equity market or debt market. Stay invested. Have minimum investment horizon of 5+ years or 10+ years, and build wealth. Second thing, to ensure that you don't go here and there, okay, have asset allocation in place. Asset allocation is the crux of your success of financial plan. It accounts for 91.5%. Okay, so which stock you buy or which scheme you buy, it doesn't matter much more than what equity allocation you have, debt allocation have. Third, whenever you invest, have SLR in mind: safety, liquidity, and return. And finally, any product which you invest, okay, when you look at the return, look at return post-tax, post-inflation. If post-tax, post-inflation, it is positive, you have created wealth. Post-tax, post-inflation, if it is negative, you have destroyed wealth. We are all here to create wealth. So I hope you have learned something new or build up on your knowledge over the last 4 seminars which we have had for you in this 1 month. Okay, and I just want you to ensure that you please start your journey. It is a must at this current scenario, because we never know what the market is stored for us, what economy has stored for us. There could be a lot of ups and downs in coming year also. Okay, it's not that we are out of it. There'll be many of them coming in this year also and coming year also. But our plan is to focus on a financial plan, focus on asset allocation, and build our wealth to satisfy all our goals, meet our retirement, which is an important goal for all of us, and also have something to hand over to our child when we are no more. We need to be in a position of giver than taker. So with that, I wish you all the very best on this wealth journey. I hope this webinar of last 4 webinars has helped you in building up the knowledge, skill set, experience on the wealth creation journey. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.